What's going on there, LEGO fans, and welcome back. Alex here. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit, well, not a little, a lot about the recent announcement of the new Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series Star Destroyer. This is the second UCS Star Destroyer that LEGO has produced. The first one, of course, back in 2001, which retailed for around $300. This one is coming out, I think, on October 1st. There is early access to VIP members on September 18th. Now, there's a lot of chatter on social media and other media outlets about this thing. A lot of it is good, a lot of it is not so good. And I kind of want to address my thoughts on this thing for what it's worth. Now, my initial reaction to seeing images of this was, wow, this thing is really, really cool looking. It looks great. The designer did an awesome job, and I'm excited to see what improvements they have made. Then I saw its piece count, 4,784 pieces, is by far a lot more pieces than the one from 2001. So that actually got me kind of excited. I'm like, okay, they've really beefed this thing up. And if trends continue the way they are, especially with the Millennium Falcon UCS model, we'll see interior designs and very unique minifigures. Then I saw its price tag of $700. My goodness, I thought, okay, this thing is going to be legit. This thing is going to be very, very similar to the Millennium Falcon in terms of quality and interior space and minifigures, right? So then I began watching the designer video that is produced by the LEGO Group. And I was watching the designer, and he was playing around with the model, and I saw the frame, and my excitement, I was still excited, but I was a little, I shouldn't say a little, I was very disappointed, unfortunately, about two things, and I think you guys know what they are. The lack of interior, and then the minifigures. It seems to be the two, well, and the price tag. Those three things, minifigures, no interior, and the price tag are the three biggest complaints that I see right now, and I share them to an extent. First of all, let's talk about minifigures. With this thing, there are two minifigures that seem to be inclusive to this set. I don't think we've seen these in other sets to my knowledge, but they don't seem to be very unique. I kind of expected, I think everybody expected to see Darth Vader in this thing, as well as some stormtroopers would have been nice to see. And I know that people might say it's a UCS set. It's not to play with, it's to look at, and I totally agree. But LEGO has been setting a trend of minifigures, applicable minifigures to their UCS sets. Any UCS set that you've seen in the last few years has minifigures that are applicable to the set you buy. For example, Slave 1, you're going to get Boba Fett. You also get Han Solo. It just makes sense that the Star Destroyer would have at least Darth Vader, maybe some stormtroopers here. So that was, I think, the big miss here with this particular set. The second is interior. Now, a lot of people are saying it doesn't need an interior. It's a UCS set. Again, it's just sitting on a shelf gathering dust, and you're supposed to look at it and ooh and ah it, right? And show it off to your friends who walk into your home. Now, I totally agree with that. It doesn't need to have an interior space to be a UCS model. Really, the only one that has an interior is the UCS Millennium Falcon. This retails for $800. Now, it has 8 minifigures in it too, right? Now, think about this, though. $800 for the UCS Millennium Falcon. We have this new Star Wars Star Destroyer for $700. So a $100 price difference, right? What are we, the consumer, getting? Where is the value for us? Why would we not spend an extra $100 for, in my opinion, a far superior LEGO set in the Millennium Falcon? We get 8 minifigures, very cool minifigures, mind you. We get interior space, and obviously a very iconic spaceship to go along with it. One more thing I'd like to add is piece count. I know people kind of get a little worked up about piece count because it's not truly applicable when you're comparing Lego sets. I mean, it can be to an extent, but the price per piece kind of comes into the equation a lot of times. In my opinion, no Lego piece, all Lego pieces are not created equal, right? You can have very large pieces compared to very small pieces, but for what it's worth, when I looked at this, the closest comparison that I could find as far as price per piece goes, in my short search anyway, is the Super Star Destroyer Lego set. And that was I think about 13 cents per piece. It was 3,152 pieces. With this thing, we have 4,784 at 15 cents per piece. A bit expensive in considering that the original Star Destroyer was 10 cents per piece. So if that's something that you weigh in as far as the value goes in your equation of should I buy or should I not buy, that's up to you. But I'll throw it out there just because I simply have the stats. So, to buy or not to buy? I'm on the fence with this, honestly. I really don't know. The $700, that's a chunk of change, more than twice the amount of the original, and essentially it's not really that much better. Yes, it has a lot more pieces. I think it has a lot more small pieces for the details on the exterior. I was a bit disappointed to see the amount of multiple colors on the interior, on the framework. I thought that was a little interesting. I'm a little worried that you'll be able to see that on the interior. I don't know when you're actually looking at it from outside. They said that the designer said you can move it without taking it apart. He didn't demonstrate that. So hopefully that is true. I think they also mentioned they fixed the bowing problem with the original. As you guys know, some of you guys may know if you have it, is the frame eventually bends under the weight of the ship itself. This thing has a lot of Technic elements. That one thing I will say that I was so relieved to see is the use of Technic elements to keep the paneling on it rather than magnets. That was probably the biggest improvement in my opinion. Of course, just seeing the model. Now, I might get this thing. I don't know if I'll get it right away. I think it will eventually end up in my collection. It'll be interesting to see how popular it is, how much it flies off the shelves in the first couple of days that it's available. I kind of think that this thing is going to be gathering dust on the shelf in the Lego store for quite some time, and we might see this go on sale, but I might be wrong. It might be just a bestseller for Lego and do really well. Again, this is a Disney set and a Star Wars set, and I think that's also part of the price that we're seeing here. Man, $700. So, but what would be really fun to do is if I do get my hands on it and do a build and review, it'll be fun to do a comparison to the original back in 2001, and I'd be happy to do a video on that when the time comes. So let me know what you guys think about the new UCS Star Destroyer, the Devastator, as what it's called. I think that's pretty cool with its devastating price tag. So we'll see you guys again in the very near future. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.